Okay, that's enough. Thank you, Tony. First off, due to his injury, Pippin will be taking the role of player assistant coach. He will have a more limited role with us, but will still be a part of the team. Same goes for Minto when he is match fit. So, with that said, let's talk about the Norse. Another more bashy team. Remember how bad the Orc Blitzers from the last match were? Well, now we more or less have a team of them. 66% of these players have the block skill, making them really tough to break down. The saving grace is that lack of armor. These guys go into battle almost completely in the buff, and thus are more susceptible to injury. Still more bulky than us though, which goes to show lean muscle will always beat podgy dumplings. Now, I feel it's best to talk about the relevant players to the team we're facing, as to not confuse you all. So, unlike orcs, Norse linemen are pretty useful, being really cheap and hard to take down. Their stats, as we stated, are almost equal to the Orc Blitzers. Big downside is they ain't that good at learning advanced skills, so even later down the line, unless Nuffle blesses them, they are limited in their growth. The Norse thrower is a linesman who practiced the art of throwing the ball really well, but didn't bother to learn how to pick the damn thing up. And to be honest, with no real designated catcher, these guys are about as pointless as the Orc lineman. Moving on. The runner is a catcher who never learned to catch, and instead overcompensates by picking fights with the biggest, strongest guy on the field. This dauntless bravery or stupidity, however you want to look at it, works quite well, as just one of these guys could theoretically knock down any big guy on the team. This makes them quite valued. Next is the Berserker, and these guys are stupid good. These psychopathic mounds of sweaty meat see the fact that you are not a puddle on the floor as an absolute insult, and will go into a frenzy to make sure you are punished for that transgression. If that wasn't bad enough, they are also able to kip up from prone states and move without any speed deduction. Trust me when I say these guys are an absolute handful. Lastly, we have the Ulfverna, or the Norse werewolf if you will. These legendary warriors have traded away their humanity for strength and resilience. With this, they lose the ability to block, and are also in that constant state of frenzy that the tension in their muscles restrict their agility. But these things are deadly, rivaling the Black Orc in strength. Now, luckily for us, you can only have 2 of each positionals mentioned. But that's more than enough. 2 of each positional and fill the rest with linesmen, and you've got a very versatile team. Deep down, if we were lizard men or necromantics, or even vamps, I'd say this would be a given for us. But no, we are halflings, and deep down, we will always be the underdog. But the Norse are only scary on paper, and they really struggle to show that promise. Seriously guys, we can do this. Any questions? For the last time, McCuthies were trying a new mascot out, and it was my turn to wear the suit. Any questions about the match? Come on! So, finally freeing myself from the hell that is corporate advertisement, our match with the Fury Axes was about to begin. Our draw with the Red Boys had just slightly put us first in the league table, so a win here would almost guarantee an easy first place. The roaring crowd were enticed by the Master Chef's cooking and the Bloodweiser flowing, and with our bribe in hand, we were ready. My only main concern was the Furiax's star player Boomer, the goblin bombardier whom I'd had previous encounters with under Lizardpool. With a mighty roar from the crowd, the coin was tossed and the call was made, and for the first time the Proudfoots would start on the offense. Unfortunately, the Norse were too focused on the job at hand to be distracted by the Master Chef's cooking, and we would have to go with what offerings we had for now. As the axes kicked off, the fans attacked the referee, leaving the bloody corpse to be replaced with a new, more timid ref, taking a discount on bribes, which allowed us to split our initial bribe into two. And as the ball landed in a very fortunate spot, our turn had begun. Treebeard started things off by forcing an early assist from Nuffle to push Boomer off the line of scrimmage. With this, the Proudfoots mobilised, protecting the ball and marking the outer lineman, allowing Merry to pick up the ball. With the treeman near the line and the high disadvantage in strength, Frodo stuntily dodges out to cover Minto. This distraction allowed Frito to make a block on Cole McUlfra, resulting in a knocked out Norseman, ending the turn. In retaliation, the Furiaxes advanced up the pitch, marking players, though Merry was safe in the confines of the semi-cage. Or so we thought. Despite Treebeard's attempt at intercepting, Boomer hurled a bomb past everyone, landing and exploding with the force of 1,000 troll punches, knocking Merry out cold, with the ball landing in Tony Blair's hands. At least we still had possession. Seeing a chance for pain, the runner Maud Gretterson goes for a blitz on Smeagol, pushing him out of the frying pan and into the freezer as Sveinolfr knocked the fling down with a well-poised punch. To finish the turn, Halfdanfur zipped away from Treebeard to surround the downed Smeagol, ensuring the halfling would think twice about getting up again. This left Boomer exposed, and the Proudfoots took advantage, with Frodo and Wudo Sudo setting up Frito for a blitz, knocking the goblin on his backside, allowing the Proudfoots to set up a cage within the axe's half. As Smeagol stupidly stood back up, Treebeard altered the cage to ensure the axes would have to take the long route in order to blitz Tony. And as the saying goes, pick the battles you know you can win, Gobby and Pippin both escaped their much stronger foes to assist Hilbo Bilberry with a block on the runner Svein Purulfa, badly hurting the Norseman, ending the turn and lifting our spirits knowing that we were growing as a team. On their turn, the Axes send two players to defend their half, and suddenly, without warning, the Ulfwerner Ulver Petmar goes for a blitz on Tony, who dodges the first strike but wasn't ready for the second. Then, it's happened.
Tony, it's okay. It's okay, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. Where's the apothecary? Come on, Tony. Tony, look at me. Look at me. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. Tony! Tony
was dead. The shock of the impact had prevented me calling the apothecary in time. Before we even had time to process the loss we had suffered, Frito was stunned by a block from the berserker Cormac Brander, and with the help from Nuffle, Adam Fryer made a mad rush to pick up the ball. The hurt train didn't stop as Smeagol tried to dodge away from Eastine the Drinker, but was caught in the end, leaving him in an injured heap. Such a fate would also fall Tom Selleck, as Sveinolfr went in hard, leaving Tom's ankles smashed to pieces. In just one quick rally, the Axes had taken 3 players from us. One of them would never be seen again. Wudo Sudo put all that pain and rage into a strike on Tony's killer, but the Ulfwerner dodged, leaving Tony's death unavenged. Treebeard, seeing the bigger threat, tried to take Boomer out of the game, but was only able to push the goblin back once again. Knowing there was nothing he could do, Frodo chose to avoid Oliver and mark the Axe's ball carrier. This was our chance for some retribution. They took our ball handler out. We'll get theirs, giving us another opportunity to pick up the ball. An opportunity that fell to Pippin. The weakest fling on the field now had the ball, and everyone in the arena, Ponto included, knew this was not going to end well. And things would appear to be correct as the Axes blocked us off, allowing the runner Maud Gretterson a blitz on Pippin. But the fling dodged to everyone's surprise, keeping us alive. Feeling the frustration, Boomer lights up another bomb, but the fuse must have been much shorter than he thought. And although an offering was made, Nuffle favours teamwork more than anything else, and these loner star players were a blight to him. So, 2 fingers were given by the deity, and the goblin blew up, along with his teammates, and worse, our downed Fredo, the latter ending up badly hurt from the blast. This time the apothecary was used, and Fredo waited to be let back onto the field. But play had been turned over to us, and we started with Treebeard avenging Tony and kicking Oliver to the turf. With that, Hilbo used everything he had to push Maud back, freeing Gobby to advance further up the field. With the space open and a decent gap, Wudo moved in, picked up Pippin, and yeeted him down the pitch. As Pippin landed, we realised we could give ourselves a nice gap to run the clock down, staying just on the edge of the end zone. And with that, Frodo played it safe, dodging out the way and moving to the other side of Wudo to end the turn. The Axes began their turn marking Gobby and Wudo, preventing any means of protecting Pippin the next turn. With this, Lancaster delivers a hard lariat to Frodo, taking another halfling out of the game. Hilbo would get the same lariat from Maud but was able to hang in there. But we needed to act fast as Treebeard swatted Boomer away like the annoying gnat he was. With Wudo only able to gain a push on Oliver, Pippin ran the ball for the touchdown. 1-0, Proudfoots. But everything sort of felt melancholy. We had lost our friend, and we were down so many players. And with 4 turns still to go, things were going to be tough. For a moment my heart fluttered as the ref blew the whistle noticing Boomer's bombs. But that moment quickly passed as the bribe the Axes managed to scrounge up at the kickoff was accepted. And this would prove an issue. As Fredo kicked the ball, the Proudfoots pushed up and enclosed the line of scrimmage, with Fredo pushing Lancaster closer to his teammate, constricting them all before the ball landed to begin the Axes' turn. And begin they did, mobilising the team to counter the play we just made. As Cormac Brander picks up the ball, Eyestein the Drinker drunkenly blitzes Pippin, with the halflings showing an amazing display of dodges to frustrate the Berserker. The same luck would befall Tommaso and Samwise, both dodging their attackers respectively. However, Tommaso's dodge would prove costly, as Boomer sent a bomb right into the space Maud Gretterson had made. The blast taking down both Treemen and the runner himself in the process. Turnover, but as we know, a downed Treeman is not good. And as our turn began, I tried to get both Treemen back to their feet. However, only Wudo was able to do so. With just the one Treeman up, the only option to halt the Axe's advancement was to yeet Pippin across the pitch. Once again, the halfling stuck the landing and moved to the ball carrier, and to ensure no more bombs were freely flung, Samwise ducked away from his marker to put pressure on Boomer. Merry rushes up the pitch to provide some cover for Pippin, while Tommaso goes for an even blitz on Lancaster, but the linesman tanks the hit and smacks the fling down to the floor. Turnover. 3 turns left is enough time for the Axes to equalise, and to ensure their best possible chances, the Axes started by orchestrating a blitz on Samwise. But the fling dodges the attack, ruining their play. Cormac Brander swipes at Pippin in a blind frenzy, but in another fine display of dodging, Pippin remained untouched. Sadly, a bit of rolling thunder saw our dodging streak end, as Boomer took Samwise down. And in an attempt to have a purpose in life, Otter Freya the Thrower blocks Hilbo Bilberry, pushing the fling back and accomplishing absolutely nothing. As Gobby gets floored by Lancaster, Fredo's time back on the field would be up, as a strong slash from Avast Canis Lupus hits home, leaving the badly hurt halfling in a crumpled heap, ending the turn. In a risky play, Pippin and Samwise tried to duck away and set Merry up for the blitz, but Boomer stuck a foot out, sending Sam face first on the cold, unforgiving pitch, leaving the fling stunned for the last turn. But out and out the job was done, and although we took a hiding, another Boomer bomb backfire turned the play back over, and as everyone rose to their feet, Merry finished our turn making a stunty mad rush to mark Cormac Brander, ensuring the ball carrier would get nowhere near to the end zone. Half-time 1-0. We were low on players and we had to do the defending all over again, but in my mind, Nuffle owed us, and he had better pay up in full. Keeping the Norse player knocked out was a good start, and as the team came out for the second half, the Fury Axes would lose both their offerings to the allure of the Master Chef's pork ribs supreme. Even better, Boomer had been sent off, an act that didn't sit well with the fans, as once again, no sooner had the ball been kicked, the fans encroached the pitch and another ref would be in need of replacing. Thus, another bribe opportunity would go to both teams. I bet Boomer was pissed. As the ball landed deep upfield, the Axes began their second half, hugging the far side of the pitch, leaving Otterfreyr to complete his life's purpose and pick up the ball. With the ball safe, Eystein the Drinker blitzed Samwise, poising his way to flooring the fling. And still not showing his dauntless side, Mord Gretterson ends the Axe's turn with another lariat to Tommaso Tolkien. Luckily, no casualty. As Tommaso picked himself back up, the Proudfoots enacted a little payback. Rudolph stunned Sveinolfer with a sharp kick as Treebeard, with the help of Nuffle, rejected his routing and pushed Lancaster back, creating some space, isolating Mord. As Gobby moved to complete the setup and Hilbo frustrated the Ulfverner, Merry makes his blitz on Mord, knocking the runner to the ground, but things didn't stop there. Knowing we had enough bribes to even hire the ref himself to kill someone, Pippin ducked through enemy lines to commit a foul on the now downed Norseman, easily breaking through his non-existent armour and stunning the runner with enough cover from the ref, so no bribe was needed. As the ball was ran down the field, Lancaster would ensure that there would be no more fouling from Pippin today, as the lineman sparked the fling out where he stood. And before Ponto could even be moved off the pitch, Cormac Brander stunned Samwise with a massive clothesline. Completely furious at the disrespect Hilbo was giving, Avast frantically slashed at the fling to no avail, making the Wolf Warrior see the purest of crimson. This act would bring Ulver into the fray, and now both Ulfverners had pincered Hilbo for the next chance of attack. This was actually good though, as one halfling had tied up two absolute units. I just hoped he could keep up with the pressure. As Eystein moved to back up the ball carrier, perfect tackle from Wudo down the Zerker, leaving the Proudfoots perfectly safe and Otterfreyr dangerously open. And on our turn, the Proudfoots hounded Otterfreyr, and with an assisting toss and offering from Nuffle, Tommaso blitzed the ball carrier, sending him flying, allowing for the ball's pickup and set up in a small half cage. With the ball secure and in an act of greed, Hilbo ducked past both Ulfverners for a foul on Eystein, but slipped in his haste, turning the play over to the Axes. And I couldn't believe we had just given a golden opportunity away. Like a roaring tide of biceps and baby oil, the Axes moved in on our half cage, allowing Otterfreyr to redeem himself, stripping the ball out of the stunned halfling's hands. Our turn again, and Samwise frustratingly started things off, forcing a Nuffle save to link up with Rudo. Treebeard moved on a blitz for Mord Gretterson, kicking the runner down and advancing up the field to aid the halflings. As a red-faced Hilbo staggered to his feet, Rudo picked up Samwise and attempted a yeet at the Fury Axe players guarding the ball, with the fling only travelling just past Mord's stunned carcass. With this distraction of stupidity, Gobby attempted a retrieve of the ball, fumbling it as was expected, with the ball landing just in front of him. Turnover. Realising the mistake, the Axes closed in on Gobby, allowing Lancaster to push the fling into the path of Otterfreyr, but Gobby dodged the thrower's offence with ease. Things were getting difficult, and the ball had too many bodies around it. With Samwise being floored by Cormac Brander and Merry succumbing to the frenzied Ulver, things were not looking good. Thankfully, Hilbo showed that without a big guy to face, the halfling was a real pest, as the Axes failed to knock him down once again. Our turn as Tommaso rose up and Hilbo stunted his way back up to Gobby. Treebeard once again moved up the pitch for a blitz, pushing his way deeper into the core of the Norse team's defences. Seeing the chance, Merry ducked through flying fists to provide Gobby an extra man to get the block on Otterfreyr and escaping the Ulfberna's grasp. With this, we were in a stalemate on the ball, and in an attempt to gain the upper hand, the Axes reformed to put pressure on Treebeard, with Maud rising up and pushing Samwise into the fist of Cormac Brander. The Zerkers weren't done there as Eystein frantically chased Tommaso, stunning the fling on the back foot. We had just passed halfway point in the second half, and after another advancing push from Treebeard, Hilbo Bilberry did the remarkable, picking up the ball under immense pressure and escaping with said ball upfield, with Gobby and Merry ducking away from their marks to provide some protection, ending our turn. In their fury, the Axes surrounded Samwise whilst Otterfreyr ran for a blitz on Hilbo, but once again the halfling dodged the attack, keeping us on the offence and further embarrassing this bashy team. Samwise would be less fortunate, as Maud's lariat struck true and the fling crashed hard to the ground, surprisingly ending the turn. This was it. Samwise got back up and dodged out of danger to protect the space leading to Hilbo, and as Treebeard stunned Sveinolfer with a wicked kick, Tommaso blitzed Otterfreyr, freeing up the offence. Gobby sprints to the end zone with Hilbo right behind him, and in a marvellous display of teamwork, Hilbo hands Gobby the ball, granting him the touchdown. 2-0 to the Proudfoots. We had done it! There was no way for the Axes to come back with just 2 turns to go. And even better, the crowd invasion for the touchdown had left 2 Axe players stunned for the kickoff. And despite their best efforts, they never made it out of their own half. Full time, 2-0. We had done it. But we had paid a price. Tony was dead, and I couldn't let it go. I hated Nuffle for choosing his fate. And as we celebrated, I denounced the god for his hypocrisy. In a flash of purest blue light, we were back at the starting lineup. Our team still hit by the injuries and losses we had suffered, but the Axes almost in perfect condition. Then it hit me. We were playing the match all over again. Nuffle had reset everything as a punishment for my transgression. I couldn't believe it, and we were slaughtered. The Axe took us out one by one, scoring a touchdown, and after another hard block on Pippin, resulting in a niggling injury from a damaged back, I had no choice but to concede. If there was a moral to this, it would be Nuffle is a god who commands respect. You may not like his decisions, but they are final. You accept them. I didn't, and because of my actions, Tony's sacrifice meant nothing, erased in time. I wanted to quit there and then, but Frito told me Tony wouldn't want that. He knew we could do something with this team, and he knew we could be great, and in his name we will be. Only problem is now we were once again low on players, and we would have to do this dance all over again, as we faced the second Norse team in our league, the Cold Warlords. And I hoped things would get better from here. Okay, that's it for today's adventure. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell thingy, and follow me on Twitter. Also, feel free to check out some of my other videos. Who knows, you might find something you like. And finally, tune in next time where we go head to head with the Cold Warlords. But until that day, this has been Techno Odin. Stay safe, claim skulls, and may Nuffle bless your dice.
Ghostly, half-pint pins, a Mootland's pride.